Instagram is a gold mine for client acquisition. Over 2 billion monthly active users, direct lines to decision makers, and when done right, a higher engagement than any other platform out there. But the dark truth is most people who start Instagram outreach get slapped with action blocks or get their accounts completely banned because they don't know what they're doing and they don't know the restrictions that Instagram puts on each account. And so today, I'm gonna show you exactly how to scale up to 350 plus DMs per day so that you can still get the quantity that you wanna get out, but also you don't put your accounts at risk. It's the same strategy that top influencers and agencies are using in 2025, and it's the same strategy that we've used to be able to acquire some of our huge clients that we've been able to work with over the past 6 years. One of our clients who implemented this system and was running a growth partner business was able to generate $65,000 in the first month using it. And this was all from a single campaign. So let me break down exactly how they did it so you can just steal the system and do the same thing for yourself. Now, before we dive in, I need to address something very, very important. Instagram's spam algorithms are incredibly sophisticated. They're using machine learning to track behavioral patterns. That way they can correctly identify automated behavior. And their systems analyze everything: how fast you're sending messages, how much you're engaging with people on the platform, repetition and IP addresses, device fingerprints, session history, literally everything that you could think of, they have data on it. In fact, Facebook and Instagram has an average of 52,000 data points on every user. And if anything looks suspicious, they will flag your account. Best case, you get temporarily blocked from messages. The worst case, you get completely banned from the platform. And we obviously don't want that to happen. So here's the reality. Sending 350 plus DMs per day on one account just isn't going to happen in any world. Instagram simply just won't allow that. So the only way to get around these limitations is to use what we call the clone system. So let me show you my 5-step process for being able to implement this infrastructure correctly into your business. So first things first, you obviously need multiple accounts. And how do we get those accounts? Well, we're not going to go out and just freshly create accounts. We need to buy aged Instagram accounts. And just to be transparent with you, most places that you go to buy these accounts are complete scams. If you need aged Instagram accounts, just text me. This is my number right here that I'm popping up on the screen. This is my personal cell phone. It will go directly to me and I'll be able to help you get those aged accounts set up. Now, I've used this same person to get all these different accounts here. Now, for this strategy to actually work, we need to warm up the accounts correctly. And the way that we do that is by sending a modest amount of messages at the start. So for a target of 350 DMs per day, we can maximum do about 35 to maximum 50 DMs per day on each account. So to warm that up, we're going to start slow and then we're going to ramp up as we go. So first thing we need to do is open up the account. We're going to open it on a proxy so that it comes from the United States or wherever you're from. If you're from the UK, Australia, wherever you're from, open it up on a proxy in your country. Next, we just need to wait. We don't want to touch these accounts for a few days. Then once we log in, then we can set up the account and optimize it for outreach. The first week, that's all we're doing. The second week, we're going to slowly start to do engagement. I like to start with about 5 posts or real likes a day, 5 follows, 2 warm DMs, and reposting some stuff to your story. I typically do a full 3-week warm-up process. That's 21 days where we ramp it up in that time frame. The first week, we're not touching anything. And the start of week 2 through week 3, we're slowly ramping up to at least 35 DMs per day by the end of the 21st day. Now, personally, I recommend having a VA do this. And I made a full video on hiring virtual assistants from the Philippines, and you can go watch that right here in the card. And if I forget to put it in there, just send me a text to this same number here, just saying, hey, I need VAs, and I'll be able to happily help you out. Now, this gradual warm-up is going to mimic human behavior, so it's going to be much less likely that you actually get banned. After those 21 days are up, then we can start to log in from your phone so that you can do a lot more outreach from that. But to start out, we only want to be using a proxy and an anti-detect browser. They're going to be the 2 things that you need. So I recommend using privateproxy.me. It's going to be around a $5 charge for a US residential proxy, and it's going to work very, very well. It's not going to get you banned. It's not going to have any bad effects. And also it's going to allow for a lot more than just a regular proxy from, say, Proxy 6. There's just a regular IPv6 proxy. Now, those proxies don't do you any good if you don't have an anti-detect browser like Hide My Account to be able to actually push those proxies out and utilize them. Hide My Account's the software that we use to be able to run multiple browser windows on one account. And we are able to basically give our setters access to this, and we're able to use it ourselves to run multiple Instagram accounts at once from a computer. And the proper setup for all of this is going to be 1 proxy per account. So if you have 10 accounts, you're going to need 10 proxies so you can make sure you're properly diversifying your accounts. This is very important because if one account gets banned, that means that all of your other accounts that are on that IP could be at risk. And so you don't want to use the same same IP address or the same proxy for any account. So now comes the big question. Do you automate this process or do you do it with a VA? And I think you can do both, but there's a very, very specific way that you have to automate if you're going to go down that route. Now, there's pros and cons to both. Now, VAs are going to sound a lot more natural and a lot less like AI, but the IGDM bots do work very well to get mass outbound out. VAs are not the most cost-effective solution, but they are going to give you the best result long-term. And so if you have a little bit of capital upfront to invest, I would highly recommend going down the route of hiring VAs. But if you are going to use an Instagram DM software, use something like AutoIGDM. It's very important not to scrape your leads with the same account. I use the Groman Chrome extension to scrape all my leads, and I upload all the leads from Groman into the AutoIGDM software. This allows me to make sure that we are getting only the highest quality leads inside of the software, and we're not just hitting up a bunch of random Indian people who are not qualified for our offer. At the start, VAs are going to perform a lot more naturally, but just make sure that you're not using anything like an AI DM setter to be able to actually set those leads on a call. If you're going to use AI or use a VA, you need to make sure that you're reviewing the conversations and that you're actually responding to them and following up manually. For a lot of agency owners at scale, a hybrid approach is what's going to work the best. And by hybrid approach, I mean using a software to do the outbound for you and then having a VA actually finish those conversations. This is going to be the most cost-effective method if you want to take yourself out of the picture completely. Now, if you don't want to go through the whole process of scraping a list, you have to instruct the VAs on how to work and how to find accounts. And to do this, you need to have a very, very dialed in ideal customer profile. The ICP is super important because if you don't know who you're actually targeting and you're just going broad, for example, if you're just targeting coaches, you're not going to actually get that great of a result on Instagram. The reason is because they're going to start hitting up a bunch of people who are completely unqualified for your offer. They don't have a clean profile and they're not actually the quality that you need. And in order to see if you are hitting up good quality leads, we need to be tracking everything. And I recommend using Airtable for this. And if you want me to show you the exact system that I use inside of Airtable to track all of this data, just comment the word CRM and I'll know to make a video on it next. And you need to be using this data to analyze and split test different scripts and openers. If a certain opener works better for a certain target market, or if you're split testing two different target markets, you can use this data to make decisions. If you're not tracking, you are slacking. So in this video, we've gone through the 5 steps of my clone system. First, we're using multiple warmed up accounts on Instagram to send our DMs. Second, we're following proper warm-up protocols. Third, we're implementing proper compartmentalization for our proxies. Fourth, we're using either VAs or a bot to do our outreach. And fifth, we are tracking and optimizing every single result. Now, you got to understand that Instagram outreach can completely transform your business, but most people do it completely wrong. The beauty of it is that it's a direct line to the decision maker. Unlike something like a cold call, you don't have to fight through a gatekeeper. And if you want to learn the exact strategy that I've used to gain over 20 million follower client portfolio, just go ahead and click this video up here and check it out. And I'd also really appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel. It takes a lot of time and energy to script these videos and plan them. And also, I'm giving you a lot of sauce for free here on YouTube. So if you're interested in one of my paid offers that's like this, but 10x, just go ahead and book in a call with the first link in the description.